What's up, OCBL fam? This is your boy, Zico Pepic, bringing you back another Pass First, Shoot Later podcast. I have another very special guest with me here today, another dear friend of mine, Danny Cavic, my Balkan brother, a guy I've been playing with for a long time, and also another sponsor to our league. Danny, how you doing, buddy?
Great, man. Excited to be here and love the slogan pass first. So
Yeah.
that's why our teams win.
Is that not perfect for me?
It's 100% accurate.
Yeah. How's everything going, man? What are you up to?
Things are great on my end, just plugging away, starting my own business, doing some mental performance coaching and trying to stay in shape by playing basketball with you whenever I can. I'm not
Not
ready to
playing in
let
the league
go.
with me though.
I,
Not this
I,
season.
I'm trying wherever I can, but age is catching up to me and father time's undefeated, right?
Oh yeah, you and me both, man. So tell me about your company. For everyone to know that Danny's company Restoic is another sponsor for our league. Very grateful for it, Danny. Again, I appreciate it. It's a similar situation with Danny. You got this going and I got my thing going. The fact that we're able to help each other out is awesome. Appreciate brothers like you guys doing stuff like this for me and me doing the same thing for you. So I'd love for you to tell everybody about Restoic.
Yeah. Well, we're really grateful to be have an opportunity to work with you guys. It's just anytime we can support basketball in general is awesome, and then when you can work with friends, even better. But my company, it's a mental fitness app, and so essentially, I was working with athletes really at the high school and collegiate level, and one of the big things that was popping up was, is there anything that we can do to train on our own? And obviously, you can go on YouTube, great stuff there. But it kind of led to the next stage of, well, why don't I create more of an app-based approach where I can teach athletes how to do visualization techniques, how to do relaxation techniques, how to do self-talk, goal setting, and concentration, and really created that to the point where we started a company. It's a platform, my business partner and I, really to help out athletes and help them with performance anxiety, help them with confidence, help them really channel that, hopefully that Mamba mentality, because a lot of folks talk about that Mamba mentality. And a lot of folks think it's innate, but you can work on it just like you can with your ball handling, just like your shooting. And so it's been an exciting journey. I love working with athletes, and hopefully this will be a piece of the puzzle to help them elevate their game.
That's so awesome, man. Like I kind of told everybody when I started this league, there was going to kind of be a theme that kind of rolled with it. Obviously we're doing stuff to support diseases such as cancer, MS, and things like that. Every season we want to make sure we give back to organizations like that, but I also want to align myself with sponsors that do things like this. You look at Marcus and the Wim Hof method, and you and mental health method, and like these are things that I think are undervalued or have been undervalued until now, but you're starting to see athletes talk about it more and more and looking for alternate ways to not just take care of their body but take care of their mind. And yeah, maybe some of the younger guys that are playing the league, they're just kind of like whatever, but then the older guys are gonna be like, dude, it's so true. Like when you start going through life and dealing with every day-to-day problem and all the things that start coming up, this stuff becomes like a godsend for people. So I love stuff like this. I was all for it when you started talking to me about it, when you were just getting everything set up, and super proud of you and everything you've done with it so far. So congrats, man. I know you're doing big things with it, and I hope you keep pushing it. And I know it's got a bright future ahead of it for you and for your partner.
I appreciate it. That's the thing. I mean, I try to pursue my passion, and to your point, we talk about basketball. Like, yeah, everyone wants to kick butt on the court and do your thing, but there are those next stages, the next chapters, and a lot of the times we look at like being nervous before a game. Well, you're going to be nervous before a sales presentation. You're going to be nervous before, if you're an attorney, going into court. A lot of this stuff transcends sports, and so if there's any way we can really look at it from a holistic approach, is saying that yes, we want to help you perform, but at the core of it, if you feel good, you're going to play good. And if we can be a piece of that solution, I'm excited to do that.
So we're obviously mentioning basketball, and we're playing in a basketball league. And you mentioned Mamba mentality. You and I are both pretty hardcore Kobe fans. We have people like Michael Van Wyck. Yeah, Michael Van Wyck, who's part of my board. I don't know why I chose to have him help me run this league, but he hates Kobe. But there's people like him that were raised poorly. I'm gonna go there.
Oh man, I love Mike. I love Mike, and I respect the fact that he stays true to his hate. He knows
Yeah.
he's wrong. I try to be objective about things, but at the end of the day, if you can hate on a guy who is, unanimously said to be the hardest working player, who's got the greatest fundamentals, footwork, who's a winner, then you're just a hater. Love you,
Yeah.
Mike. Keep that in mind.
Mike, I will have you. We will do a show with all the admin in the league just so you can defend yourself at some point. But I'm gonna make sure I get I'm gonna get every swing in before we do that. So
beautiful.
So also Laker fans, man, like we had a horrible season last year. It was came with expectation from a lot of fans who see big names and their eyes light up and expect the world, and it failed pretty miserably. You and I, who used to watch basketball games together and by ourselves, obviously nonstop, couldn't watch games this last season.
I think I watched 2 the entire year, no joke.
Yeah,
I can't do it. It makes me want to throw up.
Yeah, it was bad, and obviously things are starting to form. The team's kind of adjusting and bringing in new faces. I want to see what you think of the recent signings. Anything you're excited about?
Man, I'm excited just to bring some new hungry players in, because I think it's what showed last year and what all of us recognize as you look at rosters sometimes, even if it's for, our leagues that we've played in as adults, and the roster looks phenomenal. Doesn't translate to wins. It's just like a big point of emphasis that you don't just put the best players on a team and hope that they'll mesh. There's a lot of egos, and I think some of the young guys that are coming in, they know what they're walking into, and I think they're hungry. They're looking forward to learning, and hopefully they kind of come with that growth mindset to say that, for me, I can't wait for Westbrook to be gone. Can't wait. I would help him pack if I could. But a lot of these younger guys are going to start to see what works and what doesn't work, and I'm just excited that we're going to have some young legs in there. Hopefully they can learn from LeBron. Hopefully AD can get healthy. Hopefully Westbrook can practice shooting or at least bare minimum play defense. But it's just exciting to see that finally we have a little bit of a bright future ahead. And with being a Laker fan, like, we have no patience, and that's the double-edged sword. We've become accustomed to lots of wins, and as Kobe said, man, it's championship or bust every year, and last year was bust.
Yeah, I feel the same way. I'm happier they went the younger route. I know some people kind of started losing their mind looking at the people they're signing and thinking it's not enough. Sometimes it's not the big names, that you pick up. Like I already mentioned to you, Lonnie Walker. I think he's going to be a phenomenal fit with this team. I think he's the kind of guy that's going to be moving so much around LeBron. He's going to be that guy back cutting, getting the easy dunks, easy fast breaks, guarding their team's best player. He's going to be in that KCP mold. And
love him, by the way. I hurt my heart losing him.
Yeah, having guys like that is so important. Like
Good
you look
guys.
back to, those are some of my favorite players. We look back to Kobe and Powell days and Derek Fisher.
Can't forget him, man.
Having guys like that on your team, just you need it. And so I'm excited they're kind of going a different route. Younger names, brought back Thomas Bryant as well. Young, hungry center, could shoot threes, set pick and pops for LeBron, things like that. I'm happy they're changing the direction from last year, because as great as big names like Westbrook and Carmelo and Trevor Ariza were, they're past their prime.
You ain't lying, man. I think that's the hardest part of just holding on to what folks used to be. And I experienced that ourselves. I mean, there's a lot of times like I want to do things on the court, but my body's like, nah, you're done.
Oh yeah. I had some of those last night.
Hey, we both do, but I think it's the cool part is, though, that some of these guys are going to be coming in, and with a new coach, is at least on paper, it sounds like defense is a big emphasis. And if you have defense, then things tend to pan out. If you can control that component of it. But when you don't have defense and you have garbage offense, that's what happened last year. So I'm really looking forward to hopefully everybody being held accountable, because I don't care what your name is, how much money you're making. As a fan, I want to see guys that want to be out there, that are going to get gritty, are going to dive on those loose balls, and that are going to rise to the challenge, which I don't give a shit what kind of name you have. If you're not going to do that, I'm not interested. That's why I didn't watch very many games. So that's just me.
Yeah, I feel the same way. And I'm also going to address the elephant in the room. Me and Danny are both hoping to God it's Westbrook for Kyrie. Just, I know so many people are just bashing all over Kyrie. Like, dude, if he comes here, if he comes to the place that, Kobe helped build, that's his big brother. He's going to make sure he stands by his name. So you want a title,
100%
that's our
agree.
best chance right now. So
I'm looking forward to that, man. Fingers crossed. And if
yeah.
it happens fantastic. But we'd love to have somebody who just has a chip on his shoulder that wants to prove something too.
Yeah, not just stat Phil.
That's right.
Yeah. So Dan, obviously I know your history. And one of the things that always kind of gets guys to listen a little more is when they hear someone can actually hoop. Please tell me your basketball history so everybody knows like that you're not just some guy who started a company, that you're a legitimate player. Obviously I can stand by you and speak out all the things I've seen you do, but I'd like everyone to know where you played, what you did, and here, overseas, everything.
Yeah, no, I don't know about a serious player, but I definitely I had my fun and played high school basketball, test in high school. I'm a local. Ended up going to University of San Francisco after competing there. Went over to Europe and played professionally for 3 years. I wasn't good enough for the NBA, but I wasn't ready to hang up the sneakers and give up on the dream, which was incredible. I got to be around a lot of great athletes, former pros in the NBA. And it was a humbling experience because the funny thing is, even, playing high school, you might be the star on the team. As soon as you go to college, and when I was playing D1, I was humbled. I was thinking like, dang, everybody was the best on their team at that level. And then as you kind of translate over to Europe, well, everyone was the best in their team in college. And so it was an incredible experience. I loved playing. I got to see a lot of incredible places in Europe. Got to meet a lot of great players and got dunked on a few times as happens, which is never as fun. But yeah, I got to play a lot and afterwards played in some leagues around here. And my best days are behind me in terms of playing, but I still love the game. I still see the game so well, but as I mentioned, sometimes the body's saying that you gotta slow down. And as I've slowed down, it's just kind of cool because I wish that my mindset now was 20-year-old Danny. That's not how life works, right?
Yeah, absolutely, man. And yeah, I'm gonna let everybody know I've played with Danny a lot, and I've played with a lot of guys, and there are certain guys I've seen go up against NBA caliber players or former NBA players that could hang with them and even give it to them a little bit. Danny Cavic is one of them. I've seen him do it. I've seen him go at NBA guys and they couldn't check him at times. And some of that's me like overfeeding him the ball just because I know exactly what we're going to do. But
I appreciate that. You're my Derek Fisher.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. I was a little glue guy, but yeah, man, like that. There's a level, we talked about this with Marcus. There's this level that you'll start seeing the players that are just steps above you. And there is that NBA level. Danny was right below that. So
I appreciate that, man.
yeah,
I appreciate that. Yeah, it was really great to compete at that level. Great to have that opportunity. But yeah, you start seeing some folks like playing. I played against Blake Griffin in college when he was at Oklahoma, and you see like, oh, that's NBA level. I mean, in between that, a lot of the guys, the bench players, there's not a big difference between some of the players that we've come across. But then when you talk about those stars, and it's just it's crazy. It's crazy. I got one quick story. When we were playing Oklahoma, I had to try to box out Blake Griffin. He just pushed me out of the way and dunked it, and our coach called the timeout. And we were talking, and I was like, Coach, I don't know what to do. I mean, he's 6'10", like 260, and he could jump out of the gym. And my coach is like, God damn, son, neither do I.
Yeah, man, it's hard with guys like that. We were talking about that with Marcus, and Marcus said the guy that just destroyed him was Rasul Butler. Like of all people, it's like Rasul Butler, and Marcus walked out thinking like, oh, I'm gonna kill this guy. Ended the bench player, and like Marcus admitted he got worked by him. And I pointed out Darren Collison, like that story, like
that guy can fly.
Fastest human being I've ever seen in my life, just the flash, and just I couldn't believe the difference. And Yeah, it's funny when you hit one of those guys, get on the court with them, it's night and
I
day
didn't I
different.
didn't know somebody had that gear, but that's
Yeah.
why they get paid millions.
Yeah. So I definitely want to go back to your company. I did have a few questions I wanted to go over with this. So how were you introduced to the benefits of mental training for sports performance? Like, this is something I think that guys guys will think about when they're looking into something like this. They're going to start asking questions of, is this something that they need for them and why? So I'm going to kind of go through some of this stuff.
Yeah, it's a great question. I think, a lot of us say we want to be great or reach our potential, whatever that looks like, whether it's playing high school, college, pro, whatever the case might be. But you do a lot of the same trainings as everyone else. And you kind of circle back and say, like, hold on, I want unique results, but I want to train the same way as most people do. I didn't subscribe to that. I wish I would have learned it sooner, but I started, in professionally when I was playing in Europe, picking the brains of those elite players. And one of the things that really stood out was they think differently. And there's always those guys who they're a little wired differently, but that kind of started really that evolution of me trying to study this. But even rewinding before that, there was a moment when my brother was 12 years old, I was 10. We shared the same room, and he'd get out of bed literally every morning and swim. He was a swimmer. He'd swim butterfly to the bathroom as a 12-year-old. And I was 10. And I was looking at him like, man, I think my brother might be crazy. And I asked him one day, I was like, what are you doing? And he said, I'm visualizing myself breaking the world record as a 12-year-old. And, I caught me off guard, but, whatever. Anyway, fast forward 7 years later, he's 19. I get a call from my mom and saying, hey, your brother broke the world record. And he ended up doing 4 Olympics. He ended up breaking more world records, was a world champion. And that was like the early stages. And that kind of stood out to me because he had it innately. Some people just have it. They know how to do it. Like, all of us sit there and imagine 30 seconds or 10 seconds left on the clock, making that jumper. And if you miss, of course, clock restarts. Yep. But some people just know how to channel all 5 of those senses. And he did, and he had a hell of a career. But, looking at other athletes, as I got my master's.
Before you get to other athletes, Dan, I think everybody needs to know Danny's brother is the guy that literally almost beat Phelps. The one match that Phelps almost lost, that was Danny's brother. So, like, it's not even just Danny that was, yeah, it's not even just Danny that was the super stud of the family. It's like that family, and like hopefully your future kids, man. Like, they're breeding winners right there. So
I hope we're so fortunate. But yeah, he was a heck of an athlete, and I think like that's also one of the elements. Of course, there's always talent. Of course, that exists, but one of the elements was he trained differently. And then, not just with him, I got to be surrounded by pro soccer players, pro basketball players. And as I got my master's, I was studying top level athletes, and I was picking their brain, like, what are they doing differently? And that's kind of what stood out to me. Well, hold on, why are they the only ones doing that? Yeah, some people have it innately, but everyone can have that if they want it. You're already doing the weightlifting that Kobe does. You're already doing the drill work that Kyrie does. You're doing a lot of the work in general. Why stop there? Why not do everything else? Why not, practice visualization where you go into a game not hoping that you're going to play well, but expecting to play well, and almost seeing it in advance, where you go through all the plays, you see your jumpers going in, your fadeaways, your crossovers, and then when it actually comes into the game time, it's deja vu. I've already seen this movie. I see how this plays out, and it's really favorable for me. And so that's kind of how I was introduced to it. I wish I would have done it sooner, because my last year playing pro ball, I really tapped into it. Every single day, I'd probably do 15, 20 minutes of work, whether it's, breathing techniques, meditation, visualization. I had a hell of a year. I mean, I probably shot like 55% from 3. Was just so efficient overall. But, again, you don't know what you don't know. And I wish I would have known it sooner. And that's kind of what I'm hoping to show, at least the younger athletes too, because there's no reason you should stop doing what you're doing. But if you want to get to that next level, the question always comes back to, well, what are you willing to prioritize? Get out of your comfort zone.
So, kind of leading into that, then, what's the biggest hurdle that you see people having to get through to achieve something like this? What's that like stopgap between players doing it and not doing it? What are we missing that we haven't gotten to that?
I think a lot of that comes down to, are your goals like genuine and authentic? Like a lot of guys say they want to play college ball. Well, are your actions aligning with those goals? And I'd say more often than not, they don't. That's why it's a very small percentage of athletes that get to the next level. But I just think generally speaking, most of us are we're all creatures of habit, myself included. And it's just not fun to deviate from the same ball handling techniques. It's not fun to deviate from the same workouts. But just like, doing the same weightlifting, over time, your body adjusts and you stop seeing those gains. Same thing with ball handling. You have to push it a little bit. You have to add a tennis ball. You have to change it up and, keep your mind moving. And so similarly, I just think it comes down to most people don't want to get out of their comfort zone, especially when it's working to a certain degree and saying, well, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. There's truth to that. But at the same token, if you want to get to that next level, if you want to evolve, then you got to be willing to do something different. I think most people, myself included, just weren't ready to, weren't willing to. And especially it's kind of puzzling because there's so much science behind it. It's not, this foo-foo stuff. Your favorite player is Jordan, Kobe, all these guys did this. Kobe meditated 15 minutes to start the day. That's cool, but I'd rather just focus on what Kobe does in the gym. Well, hold on. Like, why am I only picking bits and pieces that are suitable for me? And it just always circles back to get out of your comfort zone. That's where greatness happens. And that's where you kind of find out what you're made of. So I'd say human nature is the hang up, the roadblock, if you will.
So kind of looking at that, and then obviously where you started figuring this out, what led you to start this company? Like how did this get developed?
Yeah, it just kind of got developed by working with athletes and picking their brains and trying to better understand what do today's athletes want. I'm in my mid-30s, things have changed. I can't say I can speak for what college athletes are like nowadays. It's different. Social media has changed the game as well. But it just kind of got to the point where I was like, I wanted to develop something that would be used. And so we worked with sports psychologists, but also feedback from primarily collegiate athletes, some NCAA champions, just to better understand what do they want. And with that, we really developed a platform that answers those two big questions. When we talk about visualization, for example, in every other skill set, we answer those two big ones of one, why do I care? Why should I care about this on the basketball court? And then the second question is, how do I do it? So creating some buy-in and then showing them, guiding them how to do it, closing your eyes, doing a breathing technique. I know Marcus is the expert in that, but just being able to channel that, to lower your heart rate, to reduce some muscle tension, because we talk about, butterflies and performance anxiety. Well, the Navy SEALs do a breathing technique before they go into battle. So they're focused and primed and they're not nervous. Well, why should you not do that? I mean, you get nervous. We all get nervous before a game, especially when it matters most. So what's stopping us? But we really kind of collaborated with athletes and sports psychologists to figure out, let's make it science backed, but something that's easily to digest.
So you also developed a mobile app, since you're talking about something that's easy to digest. And obviously a lot of the younger guys are on their phones most of the time. So how do you see a mobile app benefiting some of these younger guys that's probably the primary form of using your product?
Absolutely. And that's what it is. Everyone's glued to their mobile device anyway. Why not use it for competitive advantage instead of swiping right or whatever the hell people do nowadays? Why not take 5 minutes to do a breathing technique? Why not take a few moments to just center yourself, to calm yourself, to focus? And we have Olympic champions that literally use the same tracks. It's all audio centric, where it's easy. It's with you, whether you're walking to class, whether you're walking to work. I mean, for example, because I know a lot of folks that talk about, they get nervous, man, presenting in front of a whole group or, talking to your boss. Well, why not do a quick relaxation breathing technique to put those butterflies away for a moment?
For you young guys, it could even be after you've swiped right and then you're actually going out on that date, do the breathing technique so you don't make a fool of yourself.
And visualize that date going well, because when it goes well, you won't have anything unexpected accidents happening.
Yeah. Danny and I are both married, so we don't need this stuff anymore. We did
That's
enough
right.
breathing techniques before, we got the job done. So
No, man, yep, we're ahead of the game.
okay, so I had another question I wrote down, Dan. So I know you're working with college professionals, college players and athletes that are professionals as well. How do you see, since obviously your product is there, but you also know some people are already utilizing this, how do you see a shift in how they're focusing on mental training now?
I think just like the whole topic of mental health in general is just the hottest topic. I mean, we saw this with Ben Simmons, we saw it with Naomi Osaka, Simone Biles, and then sadly, we're seeing a lot of college and high school athletes committing suicide. It's just it's awful, and so it's a hot topic. Some high schools, actually, the state of Ohio just passed the House 492 bill where they're going to require high school coaches to do mental health training, and so it's not just going to be a nice to have in the future. It's going to be a need to have, and that shift is happening. And then we're just talking purely from a sports performance. Most professional teams, if not all, have sports psychologists available. Most universities now, especially the major ones like Villanova, for example, they have 5 sports psychologists on staff. And so there is a major shift happening. Yes, it's mental health based, but it's also just optimizing performance in general. And so I think it's going to trickle down. The question is just how soon. And I think with this being such a hot topic, it's going to be necessary. And at some point, we're going to have to ask ourselves, what additional support can we provide? Restoic is, again, we're not the end all be all. There's lots of great solutions out there. But if we can do our part in that, help that out, and really find like a scalable and cost-effective way to do that, because high schools can't afford a $80,000 a year sports psychologist.
Yeah.
Well, okay, that's fine, but why not a $50 a year mobile app? And that's just an example. And so there is a shift happening. I just wish it were happening sooner, not specifically for the benefit of my business, but because the numbers are not lying. I mean, number one challenge for college athletes is mental health and wellness. That's pre-COVID. That's a scary part. And since COVID has doubled. And so it's already a major issue. It's just a matter of now it's being highlighted and saying, well, hold on, like, what are we doing about this? So.
Yeah. And we're going to focus on individuals when we say that, but like, I know there's going to be teams that say, oh, I don't need that. I'm good. There's always that person that says that, and they're going to think, oh, well, that guy needs it because he's struggling with this. I don't think this is an individual thing. This is something that is a group thing, especially when it's a team. When you're on a team, you're on a string, right? Just like defense. So this is something, how are you implementing this in terms of a team aspect and not just an individual aspect?
Yeah, great question. So there is a mobile app, of course, and that's essentially just to lay the foundation for that performance mindset. But we also know that no 2 athletes are the same. And so we also offer digital coaching. I do this as well as a profession. We're helping out with a customized approach. But then in terms of teams, we have part of the platform where coaches are offered 12-week training programs. It's weekly team activities, homework assignments. I know a lot of teams don't like that, but progress tracking, assessments, coaching insights. And so we're really kind of giving them a guided approach, and again, cost-effective solution where teams could do this on a week-to-week basis. They should rather, and it's not taking a ton of time. It's roughly hour or 2 a week total. A lot of it can be done on their own, but it includes the mobile app. And so we're giving the coaches a platform, because a lot of them are going to say, well, we wish we had this, we can't afford it. That's not really a great excuse anymore, because we've worked with sports psychologists to actually develop a platform where coaches literally have to follow a guide. Step 1, hand out this PDF to your team. Step 2, give them 10 minutes to complete this exercise. Step 3, follow up. And so we made it simple, knowing full well that if there's friction, if it's hard to do, it's not going to be used. And we really made it a point to better understand that. And at the core of it, if NCAA champion coaches are using this, and why wouldn't high school coaches who are hopefully aspiring to be CIF champions, why wouldn't they use it? Especially considering when, every coach has this, my team buckles under pressure, or they practice so well, but when the game comes, they didn't do well, or this athlete just so inconsistent. Well, okay, that exists, but there's also solutions to mitigate some of those problems. And, we offer that.
The last 2 minutes of the game, those are always the most interesting to me.
Crunch
you
time.
see it in your teammates, you see it in opposition. that game is close and it's the last 2 minutes, you're going to see the guy who doesn't want the ball in his hands at all. You're going to see the guy who hides in the corner. And then you're going to see the guy who, like you, give me the effing ball, and it'd be pretty interesting if everyone got to that point where, they're all confident in, give me the ball in any situation. I'm gonna take this game over. And when a coach thinks of it like that, it makes their team so deadly. And I don't see a coach that should ever be against doing something like this. Like if it could make your overall team better or overall team confidence go up, it's just ideal in situations like that.
I agree. I mean, I think that's kind of the biggest thing of, you don't know what you don't know. And a lot of coaches just, they're not aware of what this could look like, how this could help their team. But when you kind of step back and ask them, like, what are their pain points or what are the biggest struggles of their players, even shooting wise, I mean, look, if you boost up your team free throw percentage by 15%, that is a major difference between winning and losing. I lost. I won some games. I lost some games at the free throw line. And, as a team, well, you might not be in that position where it comes down to the wire like that if you do what you're supposed to do beforehand. But a lot of folks, a lot of coaches, a lot of players are reactive when things happen. You got to be proactive. And to your point, if you could have 5 guys on the floor that have that Mamba mentality, who want to be the ones to shoot it, it's a dangerous game. And from a coach's perspective, it's a heck of a lot more fun to coach than scared guys, because that's just, you can see it in their eyes, and we've all seen it. And it's you go sit in the corner, you wait over there, and space the floor.
Yep. So Dan, you offered everybody in the league the ability to use your app, and that was something I really appreciated. Please talk about that. Please talk about how they can access this, and what they're going to be getting out of it.
Absolutely. Yeah. So as Zico mentioned, anybody who wants it, use the code. I know it's on his Instagram post, which, by the way, appreciate that. Try it out. It's free of charge. Essentially, you're going to have access to the mobile app. It's not the team-centric approach, but for you personally, you can learn about those 5 skills. And a lot of us are past our competing days where we're high school or college or pro. But as I mentioned before, this is performance psychology. And we look at it like, yes, this is sports driven, but athletes are not even the biggest ones who use it. It's actually surgeons and military personnel, because if you're operating on somebody's brain and you mess up with that scalpel, it's life or death. Same thing with Navy SEALs. And we might think a shot at the end of the game is life or death, might feel like that. It's not. But just stepping back, a lot of these things are going to help your mental well-being and help you perform at a higher level. And so anybody can try out that app. They can obviously visit our website, restoic.com, restoic.com. Happy to help out. My contact is on there, but anybody can test out the app, give it a try. I'm looking forward to any type of feedback. We're still early on in the company. We launched almost a year ago to date. And so we're evolving just like every other athlete out there, trying to get better day by day.
I will put all the information under the video and on Instagram again, so that everybody has access to it. I'll post the code again for anybody that wants to use it. Dan, before we end this, I'm gonna have a tradition with all these videos. I'm gonna ask. I hate the media, and one thing I hate is like when kids come like, "Did you see what Nick Wright said? Who was top 10 player?" I don't care what Nick Wright said. I know that guy never played basketball in his life, so I'm gonna poll everyone that comes on here. Yeah. I want your top 10 players all time. I'm going to pull them. I'm going to make a legitimate list of actual basketball players' opinions. So top 10 players all time.
Does that have to be in order or just like?
No, any order. Okay. I know the order is tough.
Okay. Jordan, Magic, LeBron, Kareem, Kobe. That's 5, right?
Jordan, Magic, LeBron, Kareem, Kobe. Yeah.
Yep. We got Larry Bird, Wilt Chamberlain, Bill Russell. That's 8. So got 2 more, huh?
Yep.
This is a tough one. This is early, but I think Giannis is going to be in there.
Okay.
Giannis is special. I'm probably missing some big names here.
You got Shaq. You got
Love Shaq, but not there.
Okay, Hakeem, Duncan.
Duncan and Hakeem are got to be in there. One of
Okay.
those. That's like 1A, 1B, but they're both exceptional players.
You
I think
got room for one. Pick one.
man, objectively, it's Duncan, but personally, Hakeem. I love his game.
All right,
I
I'm gonna
love
put
his game.
Hakeem.
Yeah, yeah,
I love them both too. I love them
yeah.
both
It's
too.
the dream shake was one of my favorite moves. Gotta love
Yeah.
that. But you can't go wrong with Duncan. He's amazing.
I agree. I agree. All right, bud. Thank you so much for your time. I genuinely appreciate the support. I'm gonna pick you up as a replacement player at some point during the season, so you guys will see Danny. It'll be in a game that's gonna be worth watching. So make sure you guys come check him out. The guy can still shoot. I don't care how old he is.
Well, I'm looking forward to it, man. Thanks so much for chatting with me as always. Appreciate you. Awesome what you're doing. I wish I was younger to play in this league with you guys because
I'm older than you, Dan. Don't ever forget it, man.
yeah, Zico puts together the best leagues. So for all you folks out
Thank you,
there,
buddy.
you're very lucky because I played in a lot of leagues and he puts together the best ones.
Appreciate that, bro. Thank you so much.
All right, brother. Talk to you soon.
All right, bro. Take care.